Well, that's super
We're
easy for
live.
me.
Thank God.
We're back for 2026, and we have Sarah Sturm as our very first guest of the year. It's very exciting.
Ooh, flattered. You got to start the bar low.
Oh, no.
That is so not true.
Start the bar high and then go low.
Actually, I was looking because Christy forwarded me your email. The last time you were like a solo guest, we did an emergency podcast after Gravel Worlds, the Gravel UCI Gravel Worlds when they did women's race. But solo was 2020.
Oh my God! Has it really been that much time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can't get you back on. You're too popular.
Sorry, I already said a cuss word.
It's okay.
I'm not media trained. I'm not media trained.
You can cuss on Feisty podcast.
Great. Well, yeah, that on our podcast, we like had a full meeting. We started out, we were like, okay, no cursing. And now we're just like F-bomb. Like it didn't last because we're like, it's just not us. So I will not say the bad curse words, but I do have a bit of a potty mouth. Sorry.
I got mine from my mom. So really,
oh my God.
Like, what am I supposed to do about that? She's a badass, and I think she's amazing, and it's gotten her through life, but she swears like a sailor.
It embellishes. When I was really good about not swearing for a while when I was coaching kids, because then I like really try to not.
Yeah.
But now I don't. So here we are.
Oh, look, we already have a comment. Thank you for being you, Sarah.
I love that little dancing emoji. Thanks.
The dancing emoji is always on the Allison Tetrick text message.
Yeah, and I feel like what are those horses?
Yeah.
Amy was with us in Girona, and all week long she just asked if she thought we were going to see Sarah Sturm.
Oh, that's so nice.
We were there leading up to
yeah, totally. That was the last time I think we like actually like did a sort of interview.
Yeah, we did a little interview after you.
Yeah, when I was so bummed. I felt so bad.
Well, okay, so jumping in, that was actually one of the things I wanted to ask you about.
Oh yeah.
We were talking about it. So we have a winter training group, and we were talking about it last night, and we had Dr. Erin Ayala. We were talking kind of about the mental side of training and how you manage stress and disappointment. And I said one of the things that stood out to me the most of 2025 was standing in the finish line of Trekka, watching you like on the big screen all day, and then seeing how disappointed you were, and that you were feeling that, right? You weren't trying to hide it. You were very real with it. And I just I'm curious, how do you navigate that in a healthy way in a competitive environment? It doesn't always make space for that, right? It's like, so how do you navigate that? Because I love that you're very
totally. I mean, it's really hard because like I would say I'm mostly a people pleaser, like through and through, like to a fault. Like even with my like bike racing, it's like no, you go ahead. Like I'm not nice, but like I tend, especially like public facing, and I'm like, it's a bike race, it's not that serious, but there are moments where you're just like, it felt really different from like the sprint at Unbound, the year that I can't even remember how many years ago that was, Christy, when we had the
2024.
Yeah, 2024, not that long ago. Like that, I obviously did not win that race either, but it was like a very different energy for me, and I was like really proud and excited to have gotten to experience that and have that result. And Traka felt really different because I knew I could win it, and I just felt like it wasn't my day. I mean, Kara was absolutely the strongest one at the end. Obviously, she won. And yeah, I truly was just so disappointed. And I think I just like had to let myself be bummed because it was, I don't know how many hours we had been out there, probably around 10 at that point. But it's like, all day. And you're like, okay, I could do this. And for most of the race, I was like, okay, I am for sure the strongest one. I can win this thing. And then for it to just not happen, it's really disappointing. You put a lot of work in, and really you're not even thinking about that. You're just like, you feel this emotion, and it is just pure disappointment. And I think you're just simply allowed to feel like that. Like it's it's really personal, even though it's like this public facing thing, but it's also like really overwhelming because I always want to be my best self forward. And like, I know people want to have interviews with me, and I was really being negative because I was allowed to be negative. Like I, fell short of a really big goal of mine. And I actually really appreciate when I watch other women race and they express emotion, because it's really emotional, and men too. You see men cry all the time when they win and when they lose. And I really love that. And so I just think that like, it's, you're really tired, you're emotionally taxed. I think what's really important though is like, you can let yourself be sad, but like, you just can't wallow. And so like, I had like, it lingered a little bit too long, and I was like, okay. And my coach was like, we're done. Like we have learned, and like, it didn't end the way that you wanted it to end. And that is bike racing. That is the sport that you have chosen. And it's a really beautiful and really painful part of it. But yeah, I think it was probably surprising for a lot of people, because I would say I'm usually like pretty happy, even when I'm like disappointed after races. I can pull it together pretty quickly. But Traka felt very, very different, because I felt like I really, really could have won it. And I could have, and it just didn't pan out that way. So
yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to give you a hug, and I was like,
I know, and like,
not in the mood.
No. I mean, Dylan barely got like the side hug, and I was like, no. Yeah. It's hard because like, it's just like this deep. I also feel like I've let myself down, and I've let so many people down too. So you're just like processing in real time in front of people, because like every finish line, I mean, they're exciting to watch. Like I like watching them. But everyone's there. There's cameras on you. There's, video cameras on you. There's cell phones. There's people watching. And you're just like, I want to go crawl in a hole and die, but I have to be here. So I can only imagine how it feels for like introverted people too. I imagine it's really extraordinarily challenging to have any sort of emotion after a race. I'm not one of those.
Really?
Obviously. But I think it would be hard. I think it'd be really hard to like be a private person and have to be in, the spotlight or famous.
I do. I mean, to all of that point, I do think it's important that we also get to see you express that emotion.
Yeah. It's
just part of the sport. And so it's not all, gummy bears and rainbows and all of that. There's that raw piece of it. And there's that piece that's just like, that is the racing that is ugly. Like there's parts of it that it just kind of sucks. There can only be,
for sure,
there can only be one winner. I mean, I'm not if you're, what is it? If you're not first, you're last person.
And I don't agree with that either. Totally. I am really like, I'm honestly really good at getting third. I got third a lot. And most of the time I'm like pretty stoked on it. And actually, as time has passed, I'm like, wow, that result is one that I'm super proud of, especially like, Kara went on to win Unbound, and Axel went on to win Gravel Burn. And like, these women are not like, and I knew that at the time. But it's just like, it's hard. Yeah. It's so emotional. I totally agree with you, Christy. Like, I think women too, always like, we get the like, why aren't you smiling? Why aren't you happy? And, you don't have to be ever for anyone. You can just do your sport. I mean, that's kind of like Pauline's clap back at the tour, right? When it was like all about her weight, and like she was, I think she got a lot of flack for this, but she was like, my job is not to be a role model. Like my job is to win bike races. And she knows how to win these bike races. And her weight was a huge commentary. And like, I think that was kind of unfair. And she was like, I didn't owe anyone anything. Like, I knew what it took. And now she's like a healthy weight again. But yeah, it's just, I feel very differently about like pieces of that. But I also was like, snaps to her, like, she doesn't owe anyone anything. She's a professional athlete.
Yeah. It's interesting to see as women's bike racing is becoming more and more popular. just the stigmas that sometimes get put still on women.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
Nice. Women should be
and nice. By us, like I do it to myself, you know, like I think I always have to be like smiley and happy and blah. And most of the time I just generally am, but like, I don't know, when I'm like nervous or like focused, like I can be those things too, because I am those things.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Right out in these streets. But I'm glad you brought that up, Catherine. That was like definitely like probably one of the harder finishes I've had emotionally.
Well, to that point, and talking about you're talking about who you're racing against and whatnot, and how you're seeing the third place result, which is a good result.
Yeah, totally.
What are you seeing inside that peloton from the women? Like, how you've been with the sport now? You were in the very first class of the Lifetime Grand Prix.
Yeah.
You took a break. You're back. Mm-hmm. How have you seen the racing for women change? Like, I'm very interested in like what's happening in that peloton, and how are women developing the craft of racing?
That's a fantastic question, and one I really love talking about, because I started racing gravel. Like my first gravel race was in 2019, BWR. And when I think back to that, like it is truly a different sport.
Right.
Like, I mean, from the equipment to the competition to like just what our field is. Like as a professional woman, most of the races, the majority of the gravel races I've done have been with men, right. Because only recently we've had our own peloton. And so that's really just been since 2024, which is kind of insane. And I have to say, like, before 2024, the like level has just been like beyond like what is happening in the men's peloton. Like, I think women, it's not that we're taking these like little steps every year. It's like this huge leap in like competition level and like in knowledge and focus. And like women are like not just like retiring into gravel. Like, no, there are women, like Morgan is a great example. She's a new freshman class of the Grand Prix. She is my favorite example because like she started with gravel. Like she has only been a gravel racer. And there's a lot of those women now, mm-hmm. Which is really exciting, because when I started, we all I came from cyclocross and mountain biking, and then there was like road racers, and which actually was so fun. Like I loved that, because like I met Allison Tetrick, and like we shared a room at BWR, and I had like never met her before, and she was telling me these crazy stories about road, and it was really cool because like all these different styles of racing were kind of coming together, and we were all sort of just surviving this thing together. And now it's very much a tactical bike race amongst women. And it's like I would say the last 3 or 4 years, like really since the Grand Prix started, maybe the second year of the Grand Prix, it became like the marginal gains is like what I call the like that like step up, where I would say like the top 10 were all like really close, in terms of talent, but then it was ability, and it was just like these little marginal gains that was the separator from like first to 10th, whereas before it was like there's a pretty big disparity from like the top 3 to like the bottom 3, and now like the gaps are getting really close, and there's more women, and I would say like most people now that I race in the peloton with, it's like our full-time job, it's our full-time focus, which is cool. It's great to see that evolution. I mean, it's pushed me. I like never thought I would have a nutritionist or like know how many grams of carbs I ate in a race, or like choose my gearing or tires. Like I think people.
Well, you had a whole new bike come to Big Sugar.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like I made a totally different bike selection, but like when I first started, I think people just assume that I've like always known like these things, and absolutely, like I'm very much learning with everybody. And it's what keeps it really interesting and fun and really painful.
I love
but
that.
Like, I think just to like round out the answer, like the year that in 2024, when we had a bunch sprint for the line at Unbound, the reason that felt so monumental was that it like sort of proved that like there were so many women that were at this elite level for 200 miles at the world's biggest gravel race. And the fact that it came down to a sprint is so, it just spoke to like where we had come, you know, like how we had gotten to like this level of the sport. And like it was anyone's race to win, and there could have been there were 9 of us, right? So like it was just this like really special moment that like, and even since then, like it's gotten like even more competitive. And there's, you know, I can't wait to see what happens this year at Unbound, because it's going to be gnarly.
I still also love that the shortest person in the peloton was leading out the tallest person.
I know.
That's like
something seems backwards in this.
It's like the squirrel leading out the giraffe. I'm like, how is this? What is going on?
And it's like you just see going, oh God. And I'm like, if she told me to go, I would just go. I would
totally. And I think she had a lot of guilt about that, but like she had so much road experience. Like she'd been at Swanee on road teams, right. And like she knew. She also has a much stronger sprint than I do. So it was like for sure there, and we sort of talked about it, but like I was like, I'd never done a lead out in my freaking life. Like I didn't know it.
I love that though. I love the fact that we are literally watching history happen. We are. I love that part of this right now. It's like it's cool. So lucky in the fact that we are sitting in the middle of it. We are watching it all happen, and
it's really special.
It's really fun.
Yeah. And I appreciate that awareness too. Cause like, we just get like, as athletes, we just get sucked in, you know, like you're just like, okay, how do I do that better next time? And like, it just evolved, like, because that is now the nature of the sport. It's like, okay, we've solved this problem. It's going to be a totally different problem next time. And we better be ahead of it. And so there's like no time really for reflection, but you're totally right. Like, I mean, we are making history with all of this. I mean, I can't wait to see what changes. And honestly, race promoters have done such a good job of adapting, like from Unbound to, you know, Mid-South. Like Bobby, I'm really curious how the new format of Mid-South is going to go. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if that is then going to be sort of a playbook for other races, you know?
Christy's like, well,
I mean, I think obviously it's like we've talked about that on the Unbound side for so long. The logistics of it are really difficult with 200 mile. There's a bunch that goes into all of it. So, totally. But I do think that like there's finally maybe a little bit of respect. I don't want to say that there wasn't respect, but maybe I can't quite think of the right words, but like
awareness.
The awareness. And I mean, I think the race directors, the race promoters, we're putting as much thought into this as you guys are into racing and potentially more. I mean, totally. You know, the women's only start needed to take time to get to where we had the women's only field that made the women's start work. And, you know, there was this, it was a given, like there was always this pressure. Yeah. And I've gone on podcasts and said this, like, I don't think pro women should be expecting that at all races. Like,
I couldn't agree more.
There has to be a pro peloton that's big enough to support the idea of a women's only race. Otherwise, I promise you, for the women, it's not going to be that much fun out there solo with no one else around you for 100 or 150 miles. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't like it when I hear pro women say, I won't go to any race that doesn't have a women's only start. I think that's very short-sighted, but I think really that's hard. I have the pleasure of that, right? Like I put on a race that has that field.
In Europe, it's really super different. Like some of those races, like some of the UCI races over there are like, it's a different scene for sure. And even like Traca, you know, like they sort of wanted to, and like, I'm glad that they're working on figuring it out, but like the start of Traca last year was so insanely stressful because they actually did a really bad job of policing our women's only start. And they like didn't start us far enough behind, you know, or like they didn't give time gaps with other men's pelotons. And at one point, the entire women's pro peloton caught or like were intermingled with this huge men's peloton. And then collectively, all of us took a wrong turn. And then there was like people turning back around into the peloton and like screaming, like men and women were like screaming at each other and like getting their bikes stuck together. And it was so chaotic. And like, I think those guys have done a really good job scaling Traka, but there's a lot of like growing pains still. And it sort of makes me realize like and this is again, like kind of why I'm going back into the Grand Prix. It's like, you know, it's really like it might feel slow, like the advance or the changes that are made with promoters to us, but when those things are made, they're super dialed and like things have been thought through. And when there's a rule, there is like enforcement of the rule. And I've experienced a different side of that where there's like a rule to sort of like lure people in. They're like, oh, we have like this women's only start. But then you're like, oh my God, you have a moto who has never seen a bike race before. And they're not going to know, like, oh, you need to be up with them, policing them. And like, it's just like, it's so chaotic and it makes it really stressful as a racer. And then it makes it really amazing when you do those events that have thought through how to like carry through on those rules to protect the sanctity of a women's race when it's, you know, supposed to be a women's race.
Yeah. People don't realize how much work it is, not just to make a rule, but to
they will when they go to an event that is not well policed.
Yeah.
Well, it's really stressful.
Well, with Treka too. Also, the roads are really narrow over there. So
it's different. Yeah, it's very, very different. And like there's a very different attitude too with racers. There is I would say like after doing that world champs race in Italy, when they didn't do the live broadcast for women, it was really clear to me the professional women's world champs race was not televised and they did for the men, which was insane. And what I noticed were all of the women who were European were like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. They hate us. They don't care. And it was like they just knew that like they were not still aren't. Like, I think there's a lot of people who don't care about the women's too, which blows my mind, truly blows my mind, because it's way more entertaining bike racing in my opinion, especially in this day and age. But I mean, there's a lot of Euros who like scoff at women on bikes, and they're like scoffing at like Marianne Vos and, you know, Pauline, and you're like, okay, great.
Let's see what you can do, dude.
So then in the US, it feels very different. Like there's like it feels like really positive. Like in my experience, I'm just speaking from my experience.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed being at Traka. It's such a different vibe than what I've experienced in a US race. And, you know, it gets compared to Unbound a lot. But this is the biggest thing I noticed is there's one type of person there, and they are very fit with a very expensive bike.
Like, for sure.
And like, that is one of the things I missed. And I know that Europe is not as diverse as the US. Yeah. But I miss seeing people of all sizes and shapes. And,
for sure.
Ages and types of bikes. You know, like I miss that vibe of like something is for everyone, where I do feel like in Europe it does have a little bit more of that exclusive.
I will say like the first few years I've done Traka, it was really different. Like it's grown a lot very quickly, and like the last few years have felt like much more serious, like very bike racy. But the first time I did Traka, it was kind of cool. Like it sort of had like adventure bike packy vibes. Was sort of like not super like diverse crowd for sure, but like a little more so than I think what the 200 and 360 have turned into. But
maybe 100 is a hard course. Like there's not like a 25 or a 50 where it's
well, they have the 100, and that used to be like a really different vibe.
Lean said that was a hard course. I'm
sure it was hard. But the terrain around Girona is just really
it's the terrain, but just you know, like the whole thing.
It is just really, really different. Like, and that's why I've always really liked doing both Traka and Unbound, and that's why I like doing gravel, because like it's just all really different.
Yeah, and I'm not saying like it was a really cool experience. I loved the way,
For sure.
3 days of racing. I thought that was really rad. I thought, okay, I've been meaning to ask you though, this whole donut thing. Did you know that the donut thing was going to happen?
No, I had none of it. No, here's the thing. We don't know anything ever.
I was like, wait, the donut. Gotcha.
On the podium.
I was in the podium. Slow there.
It's because I put that video of Sarah up today. I thought I had a different one of you waving at me at Unbound, and that was the only one I could find. And so I'm watching the podium, and like, sometimes they just drag things out a little longer in Europe too.
Well, for sure.
And then like they give them all their things, and then they give them all a donut, and they're like, now you're gonna have a donut eating contest, which somehow ended up all over Sturmy's face, like all over each other's face. Like I feel like you were the instigator.
Yeah, Danny smushed it in my face, and then I repaid the favor to Caro, and then I accidentally got Caro right in her eyeball, which I felt super bad. I was like,
bitch, that's what you get for beating me.
She's like, it's okay. I know you were really upset about the race, and I was like, oh my god, no.
Oh man, she's coming for you this year at the Grand Prix.
I know.
Wow, she's gonna have a donut in her back pocket.
Well, we were having a laugh at the Gravel Earth Series final, Rancho Gravel, because we all sort of made an agreement that we weren't gonna like spray each other in the face on the podium with the champagne. And I was like, Caro, you can get me if you want. And she's like, no, it's all good. We're calling it here. But yeah, I don't know. That's just like their presentations take a really long time. Yeah. Gravel Earth, and then the donut thing was like, okay, we're doing.
Like they were like, these donuts from a sponsor. We should do something with it. And all this.
Yeah, I think it was as simple as like SRAM had made these awesome donuts, and they just had so many, and they're like, give it to all the racers.
And they literally were like, it's a donut eating contest, and the guy like, gently nibbling theirs, and then there's this video of the
my god, no, we were like
space. And and then there's like a video, like, because I have the whole pan. I should send you the video. I have the whole video, and like you scan down, and there's Heather Jackson just timidly eating her donuts.
Absolutely not Heather. That's so funny.
I'll send you that video. It's pretty funny. Well, okay, so you decided to come back to the Grand Prix. We were just talking about that. So, and you seem to be like free spirit. I like to do whatever I want to do, and then this kind of locks you in 6 races. So, what made that decision?
Honestly, I'm like a big follow the gut kind of person. And last year when I took my little sabbatical, it was like so clear to me that I like did not want to do another season of the Grand Prix, and I took a break. Like I had to take a break. It cooked me, I just bit off more than I could chew doing both Gravel Earth and Grand Prix. And like Sophia also tried to do that. Like I think last year she thought she could win both. I mean, I'm sure she can, but it's really, I think she was surprised at like how hard it is to do both things. It's a lot of travel for like if you're American and you're trying to compete in Gravel Earth, it's a lot of international travel, and then vice versa. It's like a lot of travel for Europeans to do the Grand Prix. So I needed a little bit of a break from like the whole series thing, because like I think that's mainly the thing that like smoked me, was like just every single event I did, I felt like I couldn't fully exhale because I was just constantly like, okay, where am I in the standings? Where am I in the standings? I don't care. I know it's not, but I like, of course, cared. So I just had to take a little breather. And then this year, I really kind of missed the level of competition at all the races. So I just was really excited. I really just was excited to like sign up again, and it was honestly the most nervous I've been about being selected, because I was like, I don't know if I like
am the third place
or I got a lot of thirds. Thank goodness I won a couple, but yeah, I was just like, I just knew who was applying, and the level, again, as Christy mentioned, like the level is just increasing every year. So so I was just like, was pretty thrilled when I got in. We were in Mexico, and I was like, oh, awesome. This is great. I guess I know what I'm doing. And it's like totally a double-edged sword, because like one thing I didn't like about last year was I didn't really have like a solidly set schedule because I could do anything that I wanted. And sort of with that freedom comes a lot of stress because you're like, well, I could do everything. And then that's really overwhelming. And does anyone care? And yeah, I'm kind of excited to have like some more focus this year. And again, like I learned about myself that I actually really like the high level of competition. It's not as fun to show up when you're just like kind of sandbagging. Not that I've really ever felt like that, but like I love like showing up and you're like, wow, this race could be any of the top 20, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm super motivated by that. And yeah, I kind of missed the traveling circus a little bit. Ask me in the middle of the season how I'm feeling about this.
That's where I'm going to be curious about. But I'm like personally so stoked that you're back.
Yeah, thanks.
Although I'm lucky enough. I mean, I think like the events that I tend to be at tend to be the ones you're at.
Yeah, I'm always at. Like, I still went to most of them. I skipped a couple, and yeah, it's just kind of fun to be in the running, even though it's also.
I remember that when your first Unbound. What year was that? Was that?
It was the first year of the Grand Prix, so 2021.
No, it wasn't. Was it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was my first Unbound.
I thought you came 1 year before that.
No, because I remember racing it with Leah. I don't think so. Did I? No, I didn't.
Because you were at brunch with the Legans. Union Street.
Mm-hmm.
And you told me you were like, I'm never racing your bike race.
I honestly thought I could get away with being a pro gravel racer and never doing. I just was like, I hate when everyone does the thing, and I know that that's so stupid when I'm a professional athlete because that's the point of it. It's like
that's the point of the thing.
Yeah, it's like being a pro roadie and being like, I don't want to do the Tour de France. But honestly, and I'm not saying this because it's you, but like it really has become one of my favorite events. It truly is just so special, and I never ever thought I would ever say that about Unbound. I mean,
I was like, I was so nervous going up to ask you how your day. Like, I was like, is she just gonna tell me fuck off? You're never coming back here? And you were I loved it. I get it.
Totally. Like, okay, I mean, I definitely felt like that a couple of times during the race, and I think every single person feels like that during all of these races because they're so damn long that you have so much time to think about every little thought. But no, it's so funny. Like Dylan's parents were here for the holidays and his mom was like, are you guys going back to that race in Kansas? And I was like, yeah, totally. I mean, they're like kind of in the sport, kind of not. And they're like kind of blown away that we liked it. And it was funny to hear like Dylan sort of defend Unbound and Emporia and how cool it was because like he's like he's queen of the haters actually, you know, like but it is like we enjoy it, like it's a lot, it's really intense, we're always like so emotionally and physically fried after doing it, especially what it's become. Just like, I mean, I get there like basically almost a week ahead of time because I have so many sponsor obligations that week, and that's harder than the bike race.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
Well, what will you add into your schedule outside of the Grand Prix then?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's a little bit of a moving puzzle, to be honest. I will be going back to Traca, of course. I just really like that event. And then we'll see how things go with like energy levels and the rest of the Gravel Earth series. I'd like to do, I really like, Oregon Trail. I really love that.
They changed the date. It's closer to Leadville now. So does that make it more or less appealing?
It's just a little bit different. I think it's neither because like Leadville and Unbound are really big races. So it like getting a race block, like a stage race in before Leadville, I think will be really helpful actually. I will not be doing the Leadville stage race though. I did not love that one. And then I might dabble in some UCI races and try to go to get some points for Worlds. And then,
Nice.
Yeah, because I think the potential of UCI Gravel Worlds being like a legit gravel race this year instead of a road race is much higher. I mean, I think it's going to be a lot of roadies still, and they're going to be very strong, but it's in Australia. I think it'll be a little more rugged. You might need, slightly bigger tires than 30C tires.
And will you have to do European races primarily? Because there aren't many in North America.
No, there's there's the Fayetteville UCI race, but that conflicts with Levi's, of course, which is a race that I really love because it's just literally just all climbing. So that's kind of a bummer. But yeah, I'll sort of make my decision with like which ones I'm going to prioritize. But yeah, and it's a little bit tricky because the timing of Worlds is not fabulous for the Grand Prix because you will have to miss Little Sugar and then travel in from Australia, which is, if you know your geography, is not close.
Not close to Bentonville, no.
And it's like this, so it is within the week. So you're really setting yourself up for potential ouchiness for Big Sugar. So if you're in a tight spot in the standings, that might change some things. You have to make some decisions.
Yeah.
So,
well, I hope you do Oregon Trail because I signed up.
You did? Oh, great. They are like full already.
They're pretty much full. I think they had 17 slots left last
year. Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's so, you haven't done it, have you?
Mm-mm.
It is very hard, no matter what distance you do, but it's also like so much fun because it really is like adult bike summer camp because all you have to do is like wake up in the morning and then ride your bike and then eat and then go to bed. And it's great. Like that's all you think about, and you camp with everybody. Please camp. Don't do the Airbnb thing. Sorry.
I already signed up. We have 7 people from my gym going.
Oh my God. So see, that's so fun. It's just so fun to do it with a group of people because you're like camping and yeah, it's great. It's so much fun. And Chad,
we'll do some CrossFit on the side, like if you want to come join us for CrossFit.
Great. Yeah, Chad knows how to put on a really fantastic event.
Does a great job.
Yeah, he is a fave.
Which this, by the way, was not on my list, but because I have been listening to your podcast and I've been really proud of you for doing your strength class. And I'm like, this is something I'm going to ask you at the end of this season.
Yeah.
Not because, but you're still very young, but you are in your
I'm one of the older, one of the elders.
And I have this theory, especially Olympic lifting, because you develop so much power. Like I was reading something, you move basically what's equivalent to like 2,000 watts doing like an Olympic lift. Like a
Oh my God, really? Damn.
Off the floor. I mean, it's fast, right? It's super explosive, but it's more than you'd ever be able to generate even in 1 second on a bike.
Interesting.
And so I
wonder how they
measure the season and see if you notice it in some of these like really fast finishes.
Awesome. I'm also curious because this is like the most consistent. I mean, because I'm one of the older people in the Peloton, I truly I really wish, that's the one bummer. I wish that I had known that strength and lifting, that it like was not a thing, especially for women. But it certainly wasn't really a thing for like endurance athletes. Like it was just all about being extremely lean. I mean, high carb was not a thing either. It was just about being like very, very light, power to weight, la 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 la. If you lifted, you got too many muscles and you were too heavy. Like that was sort of the mentality. And then it really has evolved and shifted, and it's really awesome. Like I follow a lot of the younger World Cup mountain bike athletes, the women, and literally all of them are in the gym all the time.
Yeah.
And Kate is probably one of the more dedicated to doing her gym stuff, like when she's on the race circuit, which is really, really impressive. Like she'll go and seek out like gyms wherever she is racing, which is like a whole different level of like planning that I like. That's not me. That's not my journey. But I do bring bands, like resistance bands with me, and at least do some activations. But I think as you get older in the sport, recovery and injury prevention is huge. And actually, Paige Onweller texted me, and she was like, "I just listened to your podcast with Payson because I was saying how I like to skip I call them this is so bad. I call them boy muscles, but I'm just being vain. I just don't want to get like a huge neck because I can put on muscles so easily. I don't want to get like
body type that does that.
Huge traps." But then Paige was like, "No, you need boy muscles, especially as women." And we're just saying boy muscles. It's a stupid thing. That's not actually a thing. Please don't listen to me. But she was like, you need to develop like a really strong neck to prevent head injury. It's like she dove deep into, I mean, as Paige does, which we love her for it. Truly, I like really have come to rely on Paige for really great information like that and really great data. And she sent me this whole study about neck strength and prevention of head injuries. So do your boy muscles.
Yeah. Well, it is one of the reasons that women tend to have more concussions than men, because our neck muscles are not as strong.
Our slender little girl necks.
I have a chicken neck. It's like a little, it's like.
If you look cute in a choker, you're not doing it right.
Boy muscles. I can throw like 120 pounds over my head.
Hell yeah.
So.
Oh my God. She's not going to get a concussion. Listen, not for Catherine.
Here's the question though: Are you enjoying the strength training though?
I
love it.
I love it. It's so great. Like Ellen and Dylan and I all go to the same class in the morning, and I really like. I've done it for years where I just have my little program and I do my thing. But as an endurance cyclist, you just end up working out alone so much. So I actually really love the social side. I mean, shocker. But we have a great like Olympic weight class here in Durango that's 3 times a week. And it's in the mornings and it's super motivating. And I know that there's probably a better optimized time to do your strength. You usually don't want to do it before your like interval workout, but I'm all about like teaching your body how to adapt. And so is my coach. So he's all for it. And I love it. Like it's, like this morning it was a little bit hard to like wake up because I didn't get great sleep, but I don't know. It's great. And I push myself a lot harder. I mean, Ellen is always laughing because I'm just naturally a competitive person. So I'm like looking at how many weights Dylan is doing and trying. I'm nowhere near.
I'm not trying to do his weights.
It's so annoying.
Do not try to do his weights.
No. But I mean, he's also like learned. We just learned a lot. And my whole thing is like not getting injured while doing weights, and like that's why I really like having a coach in there with us. Because like even though Durango has so many Olympic level athletes, Olympians, some Olympic champions here, world champions, like it's insane. Like the endurance athlete scene in Durango is wild, but then it's also like kind of there's not a ton of resources here, so I feel like we've sort of stumbled on a little bit of gold mine with the strength class. So it's fun.
I love that you're doing that, and I'm going to ask you at the end of the season.
Okay, great. Yeah, I can't wait to report back.
Like it helped.
Yeah, at least with injury prevention.
Well, the last thing I have on my list that I wanted to ask you about, and then like I said, I had a couple of questions come in, but I've heard you also talk a little bit on your podcast about just the development of the sport, right? And like, so we talked about like, this is such a great time for women to be in the sport. And at the same time, it's developing so fast. And then like, what's the culture? What are the systems? What are the things that need to happen to keep women coming into the sport?
Yeah. Well, I fear it's going to get a little bit rough out there for, I would say the like middle class of gravel. There was like this huge boom, right? After the pandemic or during the pandemic, everyone was like freaked out about, business decisions, and so many people bought bikes in 2020. And they bought Pelotons, and like, it was huge for cycling because all of our sponsors were like, oh my God, good job, we're doing great. Like I was waiting for a call from Specialized any day to be like, sorry, we're going to have to cut the athletes. But they were like, keep doing you. You're doing awesome. Like business is booming. And I think that was fabulous for the sport of gravel because a lot of people got into gravel riding at that point because they had time and they didn't have to go to an office. But then since then, I think the industry sort of had these like peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys. I'm not an economist, so please don't like hold on every word I'm saying here, but just what I've noticed amongst friends and like people looking for sponsorship. The bike industry is kind of in a rough spot just all across the board. People are not buying as many bikes because our economy is kind of in a funky spot. So that does have trickle down into professional athletics, of course. People will always want the marquee athletes, like they have to have those people. But unfortunately, that like middle chunk, that like those people that have either like developed into the sport from juniors or like younger athletes, and they're like starting to like sign like, smaller level sponsorships. Well, those companies they have less and less money right now because they're just trying to like stay afloat. So like that middle chunk of gravel athletes that like we will hopefully see eventually take our spots in the peloton, not necessarily with age, but just like with experience and support. I hope that doesn't go away completely, but it's definitely in like a hard spot, and I think that will affect the competition in the long run. I think we're going to have like a couple years where there's going to be some funkiness for sure, because we'll have like, it's cool to see like the specialized off-road team, like G and Sophia and Annika are on there, Keegan and Matt Beers, like it's pretty epic team. But then, like I wonder like what else is out there like happening like amongst other brands and their teams, and like are they bringing in more riders? And yeah, it's just getting harder for a lot of athletes to like make it, because there was a really awesome boom for a while and it was really fabulous for women's cycling, and that's part of the reason that we've had such awesome like women's pelotons in the US, because there was a lot of support, which there should be, and I hope that doesn't go away. But I think across the board, it's going to be a little bit rough, sadly. I don't know. That's just my prediction. Not to be a pessimist, but I hope we can hang on.
I think that's a really interesting perspective, looking at it from, a 3,000 foot view of
very much,
well, I mean, that's impactful, as that, because, obviously we own a bike shop. So I see it from so many different levels and feel it. And also just really because I'm just always trying to solve problems and thinking about solutions and how could, from so many different levels, I just keep thinking about that middle class, and even like, since you're using that term, even that like lower entry class, how do we get that? I've already been thinking about how do we get those people support?
Yeah.
Because, like you're going to be taken care of. There's athletes that are going to be taken care of.
For sure.
But that doesn't mean that like the Sarah Langs and like that they need support as well. So how do you navigate that?
I know.
And looking at that whole ecosystem is very, I love the exercise of it. Now I just have to figure out how to implement some of the ideas.
Yeah. And that's it's such a good point. And like, I almost wonder, like Dylan and I go back and forth with this, because like the new hot topic is like teams, right? Like everyone's talking about teams.
Yeah, teams are coming to gravel. Teams.
And it's like, okay, also teams are really, really expensive to run. Like brands have to fork out like a shitload of money to make these teams possible. And I still think like the privateer space, and like maybe even like the privateer sort of team thing, like what Trek Driftless does, is actually going to be, I think that's where the sweet spot could be for the Sarah Langs, and that like kind of like that middle tier of, really talented athletes that can be at that level, but like, their lives may not be set up for that, and that's totally fine. And they deserve to be performing and being supported at that high level. But I hope that like the privateer, kind of more creative, like sort of what we have with like the Rafa team. We're not really a team, but we're like a group, and Rafa supports, you know, a large group of women in these gravel events, which is really great because it sort of starts to feel like a team. But I don't totally think that, like, I mean, I always say, like, I really would like to see more like support of like development teams. I really wish, like, some of these bigger brands that have like these elite level pros, I would love to see like 1 or 2 U23, or I say U25, honestly, for gravel. I think it needs to be U25. But I think they should have like 1, if not 2, a male and a female U25 athlete. I know Trek is going to have a very young squad, and that's super exciting to see whenever they start announcing that. Whoops, I don't know if I should have said that. But I would love to see like more support for development and that level, but it also doesn't really solve for Christy. You make such a good point. Like, where do those middle class athletes, middle class is such a weird term. I just like,
but I know, but it kind of
tier
describes what we're trying. Yeah, the middle tier. But I think that it brings, like, with that, the two things that are interesting to me is like that those upper tier athletes, those super competitive athletes, need that section of athletes as well. Like, it's all dependent. Like, if you don't
also, where
have
do you think like the Cecilys come from, and Melissa?
I know, exactly. And
like, they were
in
that middle tier.
Well, you bring up the teams thing, and I'm just like, the only thing I ask as we continue moving forward with gravel is that I'm not saying we don't have to do it the way it's been done, but I am saying, like, you know, when we look at historically how cycling has developed and how different genres of cycling have developed, different niches, whatever you want to say, I think what we have to do is decide that we don't have to do it that we don't have to conform, so to speak. And so, you know, I don't want to see races all conform. I don't want to see them all look alike. I agree. And I think you can have teams, but I think you really also have to figure out how, you know, privateers can work together to save money. Like, all of those things have to be happening.
Already do. Yeah, totally.
Right.
And like, I mean, I obviously, like, I love the privateer. Like, I would not be in this sport. Like, I love being like a privateer team, but like a factory team, like, I'm really like, it's so perfect for athletes that fit in that mold. But I don't like to be told what to wear and like what races to do. Like, I like to do my own thing, and I like to talk to all my sponsors. Like, it's me doing all of my business. And I think it's also like what keeps the pro scene in gravel. Like, the spirit of gravel is very much alive, and it's not because of the pros. I will tell you that. But I would say like the privateers keep that creativity kind of alive and flowing a little bit more. And I don't think that model is going to go anywhere as quickly as some people think. Like, Keegan going to Specialized was so not what people think it was. It wasn't like Specialized.
He was already there. Like,
well, it simply is like his wife, like, they just got married, was racing for Specialized, and Santa Cruz decided that they're going to put all their money into the downhill team. It was literally like that simple of a solution.
Wasn't this a major strategic move?
Yeah, no, totally. And which is great. Like, I mean, it's a really good spot for Keegan, and I'm super excited to watch what like he and Matt do. And they're all friends. Like, they all hung out anyway.
Yeah,
so
they already were racing together. It was already there. That was already there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a whole new fodder of Sophia's husband jokes coming from I
know, I can't. I'm really curious, because like Sophia, like, I have to tip my hat to her. Like, she worked her ass off to never be labeled as like Keegan's girlfriend. Like, she worked really, really hard to like not ever have
that one race.
I'm sorry. I'm just like rolling my eye. Like, the first time I was at Crusher, the announcer.
You know this story, right, Sarah?
Calling her. He kept referring at Crusher. He kept referring to her as Keegan's girlfriend the whole time.
Oh my God.
I was like, dude, she's got a name.
Oh my God. Like, listen, even if she didn't win everything, which she does, like, she hasn't, that's so annoying.
Yeah. So now I put posts up regularly on social media that refer to him as.
I hope Specialized makes him a shirt that says Sophia's husband.
Catherine, you should just
I don't think they like the joke, but
yeah,
I think it's funny.
And the people that know, and they laugh at it every single time.
Well, no, I mean, and as a fellow female in sport, I really support her with that. Like we've talked about that. Like it was really hard because Sophia has been racing just as long as Keegan, but she sort of she also graduated college and has had other jobs, and she was working as a bookkeeper for a company while she was until very recently. She had a second job because she's super dialed, really smart. Like she has her shit together, as one might assume.
Her poop's in a group.
Her poop is certainly in a group. But yeah, I think since she started taking it seriously, even back when she was on Luna, or before that when she got into cyclocross, I think especially when she and Keegan transitioned into the gravel scene, it was very intentional and she worked very hard to do that. So I'm excited to see how they maintain that balance. I mean, I think they're already there because they've both been in gravel, but it'll be interesting to see them on this team and all the other teams out there. Doesn't necessarily sometimes having teammates is not an advantage, especially when you're in a sea of individual racers out there, because we'll just be great, well, Sophia and G have to work together. Guess we get to hop on the choo-choo train.
Amazing. Well, I wanted to, like I said, I had a couple of questions that came in. You've answered most of them, but one person did ask, are there any fears? And I don't think it's more the fear, what we were talking about earlier, but do you have about terrain, speed, competition, weather? Do you have any fears that come up and what do you do with them? And this person also said, thank her for always being candid and real on.
Oh yeah. Aw, thanks. Thank you, listener. Yeah, all of us have so much fear. I mean, totally. There's no way that you get to be a professional in the sport without having fear of these races. I mean, I would say I'm going to speak for men and women in the pro peloton. These starts are really scary. I don't care how skilled you are. Racing in a peloton on dirt with mixed terrain and a lot of people who you don't know, where the roads can do whatever they do, is actually so scary. And I think about it a lot. And then on race day, you just have to trust that you possess the skills and you have to ride safely. They're unfortunately part of the downside of the women's peloton growing so much. Part of the growing pain is that there are some people that you're you need to be at the back. You are super scary and you're taking a lot of really unnecessary risks, and people are starting to there is a little bit of a hierarchy, and so people will yell. I'm not a big yeller in the peloton.
You can imagine who is.
Actually, one might surprise. I'm not going to call her out, but there's a couple that you would not think.
There's some cultural differences too, I think, between the U.S. and other countries.
For sure.
But I would argue that you should call that out.
Absolutely. And if I am very lucky that I am always positioned near the people that I know are going to call them out, so I don't.
You're I have to slide behind the person that I know is going to yell.
Yeah, but I have totally said something because it is just part of learning. And yeah, it sucks. But to answer this person's question, I think people assume that when you're a pro, you have no fear. And I guarantee you those guys rolling out for each start, guys and women of the Tour de France, it's totally packed full of fear, but you have to let the focus and the trust take over, and the experience. So I imagine meditation is really helpful. But yeah, I would say gravel and road racing are probably two of the more dangerous sports. I would say gravel just because there's so much like unpredictability, like there could be anything at any moment. And if you're in a group that has no visibility, you are truly just like trusting blindly the people in front of you. And it's actually insane. Like if you really think about that. And road, the speeds are just so scary, and you're in a peloton for so long of those races. That mountain biking, I just wish that I had the skill set to be a pro mountain biker, because like those crashes look gnarly, but it's a different type of crash when you're on a mountain bike. You're just going a lot slower. So I don't know. I think the fear thing is also like kind of what keeps us coming back in some ways. Like we're all sort of like masochistic, because you're like, okay, I know this is really scary, but I also have gotten through it so many times that I want to face that fear again and like see if I can do better.
Yeah. Well, we've had you an hour. I do want to wrap up just asking you about your podcast. And that is what somebody also asked. Is just like, has that given you space to reflect any, or like, what is it? What do you, I know you're with Payson's network, but how did this come about, and what do you like about it?
Yeah. I mean, I really like podcasting. I listen to a ton of podcasts. That's truly like why I started one, because I listen to a lot of talk podcasts, like ones that I don't learn anything from. It's just like I get to like listen to these two girls talk, and I feel like I'm hanging out with them. And it's really great when I'm like at hour 4 of a ride that I don't want to be on it anymore, and I just like I turn it on. And so I felt like there was a space in the sports world for not only more women in the podcasting space. Like I love that you guys have this one and have had it for so long. And then I also love that the Bonk Babes podcast started. And I just think like the talk format of like not always having an interview, like it's my sister. So like we're obviously like extremely close. I knew that I wanted her as my co-host because Hannah doesn't give a shit about cycling at all, which is always like such a great, like as a professional athlete, like you get so like blinded by the sport that we're in, because it's like just constant. And she's such a good reminder for me that it's like not everything, and there's so much else out there. And I think people appreciate her perspective a lot on the pod. And we can just yap. So it's been really fun, and it's pretty wild that like people listen to it, which is super cool. Like I love seeing that like people interact, and like we've started this like little community, and a lot more men listen to it than I thought, which is crazy. Like we have 54% female listeners, which we were wow. I was thinking it was like 90.
You're very
talk about periods more.
That's what I said. I was like, okay, I guess we'll talk about periods more.
My favorite moment, and I can't remember what you were talking about, but you said something, and it was like definitely a cycling term that anybody in cycling would know. And your sister was like, the period tracker. I was walking my dog, and I just started crying.
Yeah, it was Flow. I said Flow because like it was Flow Sports, like the broadcasting.
And you just said Flow, and she's like, the period.
Oh my God, we cried
laughing in the street.
We crack ourselves up all the time. Like when Hannah, she like sang one of the songs. She goes to all these like super hippie things in Memphis. And she like sang one of these songs, and she got 4 words in, and we were just both crying laughing. So, I mean, really, I just did it so I could hang out with my little sister, which I do question every morning, because now we're like recording them like pretty early on Mondays, which I'm not a morning person, I would say. And so I have to remind myself that I do actually like her and like talking.
Yeah. Well, the podcast is called Talking Over You.
Yes.
That's right. And you can just find it on any of the podcast networks. So definitely go find that.
Thank you.
Look for.
Thanks for plugging the pod on the pod.
Of course.
Pod on the pod.
And get you a few more women listeners than our 3 guys.
Yeah. Do you guys have mostly women?
It's pretty high percentage.
That's awesome. Yeah. I love that. We love to see that. Well, those of you who haven't listened on this podcast to ours, please bump our female numbers up.
And then we will look forward to seeing you at races this year. Maybe Mid-South. Maybe
maybe as early as Mid-South. That's coming up.
It's 2 months away.
It's real fast. But I'm happy to see you back in the Grand Prix, and always one of my favorites to see at races.
Thanks,
You're always
guys. I hope to be a little happier at the finish line for so many reasons, but also you're probably going to catch me with the same emotions too. It's how you know we're family. I'm comfortable being really sad and bitchy in front of you.
I won't try to help you this time.
Yeah, for your safety, don't. But the donut afterwards, yes.
There you go.
Thanks so much, Sturm.
Well, thank you guys.